Hello students, welcome to 6th science class. Yesterday we have started chapter number 10, force and types of force. Force is necessary for every action. No object changes its position on its own. Force is required to move an object. Force is also used to change the direction of object in motion or to stop it. Force is necessary to change shape of object. This force is of different types. First was muscular force. The force applied with the help of muscles is called muscular force. Second, mechanical force. The force applied by the means of machines is called mechanical force. Third was gravitational force. The force applied by the earth to pull the objects towards itself is called gravitational force. Now, today we will continue with gravitational force. Here in picture, you can see the boy is throwing stone in the bucket full of water. In first case, he was dropping that stone from less distance from the bucket, and in second, he is dropping that stone from larger distance. Then, which sound produced by stone will be louder? Surely, in second case, when the stone is thrown from the larger distance, the sound will be louder. Second action, if you see, the action of lifting a sack are shown in this picture. One sack looks empty, the other one is full. What is the difference do you notice in the way two sacks are lifted? The gravitational force on the empty sack is less. That is to say, it is weightless. So, in second case, we have to apply more force. Thus, we can say that the gravitational force on bigger sack is greater. In other words, the bag weighs more. So, greater force must be applied to lift a greater weight. Now, we will try to learn about spring balance, which works on the principle of gravitation. To weigh an object, it is hung from the hook of spring balance. The suspended object is pulled downwards by the force of gravity. At the same time, the force of tension in the spring constantly pulls the object upwards. The object comes to the rest when the tension in the spring and the gravitational force on the object becomes equal. In this position, the scale on spring balance shows the gravitational force acting on the object, which will be the weight of the object. The gravitational force acting on the object is called the weight of that object. Next type of force is magnetic force. Place a magnet on a table. Take a big iron nail towards the magnet. It sticks to the magnet. Now hold the magnet upright in the air away from the nail. What happens? The nail will be attracted towards the magnet. That's why we can say that there is something force will be applied on the nail so that the nail is getting attracted towards the magnet. This force, which is exerted by magnet, is called magnetic force. So this is the fourth type of force is magnetic force, which can be defined as the force exerted by magnet is called magnetic force. Next type of force is frictional force. When a carom piece is flicked lightly, it slides over the carom board but stops at certain distance. Also, if we see a ball rolling over a flat ground, stops at certain distance. Why does this happen? Because when two surfaces rub against each other, the force of friction comes into play. The force of friction starts to operate on that bodies or surfaces. It always acts against the direction of motion. Force of friction always acts against the direction of motion. Again, suppose for example, when a brake is applied while riding a bicycle, it stops after running a short distance. How does the brake work? Between which parts the friction is produced? When we apply the brakes on wheels of bicycle, the friction is produced between brake and wheels. That's why the moving wheel velocity reduces, and after covering short distance it stops. For to understand frictional force, take two pieces of smooth paper and two of sandpaper and rub them against each other. What do you notice? The smooth surface can be easily rubbed against each other because the force of friction between them is less, while rough surfaces cannot be easily rubbed against each other because the force of friction between them is much greater. It is possible for us to walk on the ground only because of the force of friction. If there is no friction, we would slip and fall. For example, we are very likely to slip while walking on an oily or wet floor. Why is a wooden plank laid down for pulling out a car which is stuck in mud? Reason is a force of friction is generated between the wheel and wooden plank laid down under the car. Hence, it can be pulled out from the mud. In short, the force of friction can either be decreased or increased as desired, and it always acts against the direction of motion. In our next session, we will continue with more types of force.